There is no glory in trembling before your own shadow. Rise like the morning, even when night clings to your bones. Kill the ache that whispers not enough. Smother fear with faith. Burn the script of sorrow. You are not here to feel small. You are here to become boldly. They are meant to serve us, to signal, to teach, to alert, but never to reign. Like fire in the hearth, they warm the spirit when harnessed, but left untamed, they burn the house down. Many people live as if emotions were kings, demanding obedience, shaping every word, guiding every decision. But feelings, as powerful as they are, were never meant to lead. They were meant to inform. The beauty of human emotion is in its depth. Joy dances in our chest. Sadness folds us into silence. Anger crackles through the nerves like lightning. Fear, soft or sharp, makes us pause. Every feeling has a voice, but not every voice deserves a vote. A wise soul learns to listen without surrendering. A wise soul knows emotions are here to speak, not to steer. Imagine a sculptor. She does not weep at the marble. She does not tremble when it resists the chisel. She uses her tools. She applies pressure and intention. Our emotions are those tools. Her hammer, her blade, her brush. They are not her master, and they do not design her vision. In the same way, we must learn to pick up our anger when needed and put it down when it has done its job. We must know when grief needs to be held and when it needs to be released. Too many walk through life hostage to what they feel. They say, I was angry, so I said it, or I was hurt, so I left. And though these words may feel true, they are often unwise. A life ruled by emotion is a life chained to the winds. Whatever blows in, blows you over. But if you can recognize that anger is a flare, not a compass, you can use it. If you can see that sadness is not your identity but a season, you can move through it with dignity. Let the emotions come. Let them rise like tide water. But know this, the tide was never meant to drown you. It comes to clean, to stir, to wash away what must go. Stand firm. Let it flow around your feet, but never allow it to sweep away your steps. The moment you hand your decisions to your feelings, you have forfeited your throne. And you, dear soul, were born to reign over your own life. There will be days when fear is loud, days when insecurity makes your hands shake. That does not mean you are weak. It means you are alive. What matters is not the presence of emotion, but your posture toward it. Are you bowing or are you listening? Are you letting it build your wisdom, or are you letting it build your prison? We were not given feelings to rule us. We were given them so we could learn what to avoid, what to heal, what to hope. But feelings are not facts. They are not orders. They are not destiny. You must learn to hold space for your emotion without letting it take the steering wheel. Cry when you need to, but don't speak your future through tears. Be angry, but do not let rage carve your legacy. Stand with your back straight and your spirit tall. Feel what you feel, but live what you choose. There is quiet strength in those who pause before they react, who breathe before they speak, who understand that emotion is a mirror, not a map. Use your emotions like you would use your hands to build, to create, to express. But never let them pull you by the collar into corners you don't belong in. You are not your feeling. You are the one who feels. And that, beloved, is power. It slips in quietly, dressed as comfort. It tells you to sit down, to stay still, to nurse your wounds and expect the world to understand. It offers the illusion of care when all it truly wants is to keep you stagnant. Self-pity doesn't soothe, it suffocates. It wraps around the soul like a heavy quilt, soft but smothering, warm but paralyzing. It is a comfort that kills. There's a difference between feeling pain and feeding it. Pain is human. It arrives uninvited, breaks your rhythm, reminds you that you are alive and vulnerable. That is natural. But self-pity builds a shrine to that pain. It lights candles around it. It bows its head not to honor the wound, but to keep it bleeding. That is where the danger lies. When life wounds us, and it will, we have two choices. We can tend to the pain or we can cling to it. The first path leads to healing, the second to bitterness. Self-pity is the voice that whispers, "Why me?" and keeps asking long after the answer has come. It circles the same hurt like a hawk, but never seeks the sky. It convinces you that your suffering is special, that your hardship justifies surrender. But there is nothing noble in remaining broken when healing is possible. The truth is, self-pity isolates. It tells you no one understands, no one sees, no one cares. It wants you alone, sitting in the dark, repeating your injuries like a mantra. And if you're not careful, it becomes a kind of identity. You stop being a person who felt pain and become a person defined by it. That is a tragedy of the quietest kind. There are those who drink from the cup of self-pity so long, they forget what strength tastes like. They speak of their suffering more than their survival. They fold every moment of life around a memory of being wronged. But to live fully, one must be willing to unclench the fist around pain. Self-pity never tells you that you're strong. It never asks you to rise. It asks you to stay in the story of being powerless. There is power in grief, power in struggle, even power in sorrow, but there is none in pity. Pity demands nothing of you. It wants you small. It wants you safe. It wants you silent. And perhaps in some seasons that feels easier than moving forward. But ease is not always the same as peace. There is a deeper peace in picking up your pieces and walking forward, even if it's slow, even if you're limping, even if no one cheers. You must understand this. Your pain is real, but so is your power. And one must be chosen over the other. If you continue to drink from the well of self-pity, you will thirst forever. It can never nourish. It can only numb. So when self-pity comes, and it will, meet it like an old acquaintance you no longer entertain. Acknowledge it, then usher it out. Say, "I see you, but I have work to do. I have places to go. I have a self to rebuild." Do not let your sorrow become your sanctuary. Do not decorate your despair. You are not meant to live there. You are meant to pass through it. Self-pity is a poison, and your soul was made to thrive. Drink only what strengthens. Listen only to what calls you forward. Leave the rest behind. It is not born in bone or blood. It is not a gift handed down through fortune or fate. It is a decision made in silence, often when no one is watching, when nothing is easy, and when everything in you says, "Give up." Strength is what you choose in the pause between breaking and bending. It's not the absence of pain, it's what you do while carrying it. People often mistake strength for something grand, like lifting the weight of the world or standing tall through a storm. But true strength is quieter. It's getting out of bed when your heart is heavy. It's smiling with cracked lips. It's choosing not to lash out when you have every reason to. It's staying when it would be easier to leave, or leaving when it would be safer to stay. Every one of these is a choice, not a destiny. Life does not hand us strength. It hands us moments to become strong. It gives us trials, and we decide what to do with them. Some grow bitter, others grow brave, some retreat, others rise. And the difference is never luck. It is always choice. Strength is not a constant state. It is built breath by breath, action by action, thought by thought. We may not choose what happens to us, but we always choose how we meet it. That's where the power lives. You can let hardship harden you or let it hone you. You can let fear freeze you or fuel you. Each day is an invitation to respond with strength, not the loud, shouting kind, but the steady kind that doesn't flinch, the kind that keeps its dignity even while trembling. There will be days when you feel hollow, days when your hands can't hold anything but doubt. Even then, you can choose strength. It may look like reaching out instead of hiding. It may look like silence instead of rage. Sometimes strength is walking away from the argument. Other times it's staying in the room and saying the truth. But always it is a choice. Always it costs something, and always it gives more than it takes. The world will not ask for your strength kindly. It will demand it with storms and loss and disappointment. You will be tested by time, by betrayal, by your own thoughts. And in each of those moments, you will be asked, not, are you strong, but will you be? That is what matters. The willingness to rise even when your knees shake. The courage to be kind even when the world is cruel. The discipline to keep going when no one claps. Strength is not in your muscles, it is in your mindset, in your refusal to be shaped by what breaks you, in your insistence that you will write your story no matter how many hands try to hold the pen. You do not need to feel strong to be strong. You only need to choose it again and again until it becomes the way you live. So when life presses on your chest and whispers you are small, choose to rise. When the past drags like chains, choose to move forward. When you feel forgotten, overlooked, or underestimated, choose to believe in yourself anyway. Strength isn't something you find, it's something you become with every choice to hold your head up even in darkness. Not by pretending they don't exist, but by refusing to give them your voice. Doubt comes softly at first. A whisper, a hesitation, a thought that says, you're not ready, you're not enough. What if you fail? It does not shout. It lingers. It waits for your agreement. And once you speak it, once you let it take shape in your words, it becomes louder, stronger, bolder. That is how weak doubts grow. They feed on your attention, your repetition, your surrender. You must learn to meet doubt not with panic, but with stillness. You must look it in the eye without trembling and say nothing. Do not debate it. Do not defend yourself against it. Let it pass through your mind like a shadow on a wall, present but powerless. Weak doubts crave a stage, and silence denies them one. They are smoke, not stone. They cannot hold their shape without your breath behind them. There is a difference between reflection and rumination. One helps you prepare, the other helps you procrastinate. Weak doubts live in rumination. They return again and again, not to offer clarity, but to drain your courage. They speak in circles and pose as logic. They ask the same question with different masks. What if you're not good enough? What if you make a fool of yourself? What if you're wrong? But these are not questions meant to be answered. They are traps meant to delay you. If you do not learn to silence weak doubts, they will silence your progress. They will interrupt your purpose. They will disguise themselves as humility, as caution, as reason. And all the while, they are doing one thing, keeping you small. Doubt that comes to challenge and sharpen is not the enemy. That kind of doubt, the kind that checks your facts, your timing, your approach, is useful. But weak doubt is different. It attacks your identity. It tells you not that your plan needs adjusting, but that you are not worthy of the plan at all. That is the doubt you must silence. And silence is not passive. It is a discipline. It takes effort to hold your ground while uncertainty tries to pull you away from your center. It takes strength to speak truth to yourself, even when you don't feel it yet. To say, I may not have it all figured out, but I am not disqualified. To remind yourself, doubt does not decide your destiny. Action does. Silencing weak doubts means choosing to speak only what serves your growth. It means turning your focus away from the question, am I enough? And toward the decision, I will begin. It means taking the next step, even with the tremble in your knees. Because doubt never truly disappears, but it loses power in the presence of motion. Every step forward weakens its grip. every completed task, every kept promise, every quiet act of courage. These are the things that silence doubt more effectively than shouting ever could. So when weak doubts rise, do not argue with them. Starve them. Do not give them your words. Give them your back. Keep walking. Keep working. Keep becoming. Let your silence be your resistance, your confidence, your declaration that you will not be ruled by what was never strong to begin with. Weak doubts are loud only when you are quiet about your power. Be still, but not empty. Be silent, but not passive. Let your quiet be rooted in knowing, not in fear. You are not here to serve your doubts. You are here to surpass them. The presence of soul in the middle of it. It is the calm held within chaos, the quiet dignity that refuses to collapse when the world demands it. Grace under pressure is not loud. It does not announce itself. It does not compete. It does not seek applause. It simply endures, upright and whole, while everything else shakes. Pressure will come in deadlines, in heartbreaks, in public eyes and private fears. There will be moments when you are stretched to the edge of your strength. Moments when your voice is tight, your hands are tired, and your heart is louder than your thoughts. Those are the moments that define the difference between reaction and response. Grace chooses the latter. It breathes before it breaks. It listens before it speaks. It decides rather than explodes. It takes more strength to be graceful in pressure than to lash out from it. Anyone can panic. Anyone can curse the storm. But it takes discipline to stand in it with your feet planted, your voice steady, and your spirit unbothered. Grace doesn't mean you don't feel the weight. It means you carry it without turning it into a weapon. It means you speak with compassion even when you're being challenged. It means you stay kind, even when kindness feels undeserved. The world often equates grace with softness, with submission, with silence. But grace is not weakness. It is restraint. It is power, beautifully tamed. It is knowing what you could say, could do, could destroy, and choosing not to. Not because you are afraid, but because you are free. Free from the need to dominate. Free from the need to prove anything. Grace under pressure says, I know who I am, and I do not need this moment to tell me. In conflict, grace does not compete. It composes. It brings clarity, not confusion. Where others react with anger, grace responds with intention. Where others flee, grace stays present. Where others strike, grace opens its palm, not to surrender, but to offer peace as a possibility. To carry grace under pressure is to be bigger than the moment trying to break you. It is to know that pressure is temporary, but your character is not. Every moment of pressure is an invitation to become more anchored, not more aggressive. And that choice is made not in comfort, but in discomfort. Not when things are easy, but when they are almost unbearable. You will not always be praised for your grace. In fact, it may go unnoticed. Others will see only the results, the solution, the survival, the silence. But you will know the war you waged within. You will know how hard it was not to scream, not to fold, not to strike. And that knowing, that quiet integrity, is the reward. Grace under pressure doesn't need recognition. It is its own triumph. So when pressure finds you, and it will, meet it with stillness, with breath, with a spine that bends but doesn't break. Let your words be fewer but wiser. Let your hands stay steady even when your world is not. Let your presence speak louder than your panic. That is grace. You do not need to be loud to be strong. You do not need to win to be worthy. You only need to be consistent, deliberate, and rooted. That is what grace looks like in motion. It does not flinch. It does not fall. It rises quietly over and over again. Rewrite your inner story because the one you've been telling yourself might not be the truth. It might only be a memory, a wound, a fear dressed in words. The story you repeat in your mind becomes the lens through which you see your life. If that story is filled with shame, with limits, with echoes of what others told you you could not be, then it is time to pick up the pen and begin again. You are not the same person you were when that first story was written. Maybe you were small, unheard, overlooked. Maybe someone else wrote chapters in your voice, teachers who doubted you, parents who misunderstood you, friends who disappeared when you needed them most. Maybe pain wrote paragraphs. Maybe failure underlined the pages. But those stories are not sacred. They are not permanent. They are not the final draft. You get to choose who you are becoming, and that means you get to choose the words that shape that journey. The inner story we tell ourselves carries enormous weight. It colors how we walk into rooms. It shapes what we believe we deserve. It even affects how we love, how we work, how we rest. If your inner story says, "I always mess things up," you will carry that expectation into every opportunity. If your inner story says, "I'm not lovable," you will see every connection through a lens of distance and doubt. You will push people away and call it fate. That's the danger of an old story left unchallenged. It becomes prophecy. But the beauty is this: you are not stuck. The moment you become aware of the story, you gain the power to change it. And changing it doesn't mean pretending nothing ever hurt you. It means taking authorship. It means saying, yes, I was dropped. Yes, I was misunderstood. Yes, I failed. But that is not where the story ends. The pen is yours now, and your healing is not in erasing the past, but in reframing it. There is deep strength in rewriting your inner story, not for applause, not for performance, but for peace. Peace comes when you can say, I am more than what happened to me. I am more than what I feared. I am not the broken version of myself that someone else named. You must become the narrator of your own narrative. You must decide what each hardship meant, what each season taught, and what you will carry forward. This rewriting is not done all at once. It is done slowly, in daily choices, in how you speak to yourself when you make a mistake, in how you respond to silence, to setbacks, to solitude. It's in the decision to affirm instead of criticize, to try again instead of retreat, to believe even a little that something new is possible. No one else can rewrite your story for you. People may offer love, support, guidance, but only you can shift the script inside your mind. And when you do, everything changes. You'll walk differently. You'll breathe deeper. You'll notice doors where before you only saw walls. Because a rewritten story doesn't change the world outside. It changes the way you move through it. So ask yourself, what do I believe about myself that no longer serves me? Whose voice am I still hearing that doesn't belong to me? What if I chose new words, stronger, softer, wiser? What if I wrote a story that made space for the person I'm still becoming? You have the right to revise. You have the right to reclaim your narrative. And you have the power to write a story that no longer begins with pain, but with purpose. The story that begins now, with you. In the journey of becoming, we are called not to be perfect, but to be deliberate, to choose strength where weakness tempts us, to silence the doubts that do not serve us, to rise with grace when pressure bears down, to release the poison of self-pity, and to rewrite the story that once kept us small. Emotions, though powerful, are not our rulers. They are tools in the hands of the wise. We are not victims of our inner storms, but architects of our response. Each moment offers a quiet invitation to live with intention, to grow beyond the boundaries we once accepted, and to speak to ourselves with the authority of someone who has survived and still chooses to rise. This is the power of choosing yourself again and again, not through noise, but through steady courage, sacred restraint, and an unshakable belief that the story is still being written, and you at last hold the pen.